Welcome everybody to the ASC Weekly, the ASCW mini tournament. Game 2 of the finals. We have spawning as the blue Terran 6 Jacks DDE facing off against Complexity Gaming's Cruncher, the orange Protoss. Cruncher up one game. Tumba co-casting with me this evening is Varapsack. Here we go, Varap. Game 2 of the finals.
Indeed. If we go with tradition, then DDE is going to win this one, and it should probably be a fairly long drawn-out game that should see each player get 3 bases. But you never know, anything could happen. Looks like Cruncher not gearing up for an incredibly early expand. Pretty standard. It's not the largest map, but he's not playing against the Zerg, so you don't normally see that kind of thing. He's going to scout his opponent first.
Absolutely close by air position. I will be interested to see how Cruncher opens up. Not many people a fan of the air opening versus Terran. I think a lot of people assumed an auto loss in that last game. But Cruncher with great unit control.
Yeah, definitely. And combining Phoenixes with Colossi means that small numbers of Vikings just are not going to cut it. You can't get away with cutting any corners as a Terran player. And turned out that kind of happened that way for DDE. Wasn't able to take out those Colossi, deal with the big damage dealers of Cruncher's army.
No, DDE playing a very scrappy style this whole tournament. Not really ever getting a chance to go ahead and mass a bio ball up. Had a lot of problems with Destiny early on. Cruncher going to go ahead and steal the gas of DDE.
Always just a little bit of a minor annoyance, even if your build wasn't requiring 2 geysers to be under your control all the time. It's still something you just have to deal with later on. It makes it so you probably can't build your tech structures over in that corner of the base. In this case, not a big deal. On some maps, it's a little bit more annoying. Like Xel'Naga Caverns. They take your gas, you build your second barracks right next to it, and they're like, alright, I know what's coming to me. So minor annoyance there. Forcing a Marine to be dedicated to taking it out, and that's allowing this probe to get right up in here, see everything that's going on, do as much scouting as it wants to, be entirely free to leave as well. And so Cruncher just kind of everything working out for him as he wants it to so far. Meanwhile, DDE is scouting Cruncher's base. He sees that this is a cybernetics core. He sees that there's only about 35% full of chrono boost on the Nexus there, and both simulators are being mined from right now for Cruncher. So both players getting really good detailed scouting information for the time being, and it looks like DDE wants to go for kind of a similar thing, but instead of using a Reaper and expanding, he's just going to go straight for those Marauders, maybe get some concussive shells, or switch that barracks off, build a reactor on it, build a factory on this tech lab, and go for some siege tanks and expand or something.
Seems like he's not at all afraid of another air opening. He chooses to get out an early Marauder. Marauders, of course, having a problem with shooting up, as they can't do it.
Yep, they're like the Terran Roach. They just can't do it. They also are impervious to radiation, and what's Cruncher doing with this probe here? He's going to build something. It's a robo facility.
Dare I say, a little more of a standard opener from Cruncher. Getting his sentries out, saving up that precious mana so they can go ahead and cast Force Field.
Yeah, like we saw last game, it's a pretty good ability. Pretty useful. Splitting your opponent's army, giving you a big numbers advantage where before you were behind, or extending your numbers advantage so that you don't have to lose anything to kill all of their stuff.
Absolutely. Join Protoss. We've got an in-game map editor.
A little bit of a propaganda speech there for you guys. Everything, of course, true. And it looks like DDE is going to get his expansion down a bit before Cruncher this time. Immortal immediately coming out of that robo for Cruncher as well. And DDE knows that there's no expansion coming down. So he's just going to chill out there with his SCV, see what he can see happening. He's going to walk up the ramp. He's going to see 3 sentries, and he's probably going to know this is pretty much a standard 2-gate robo build. And there should be an expansion coming out from Cruncher in a couple of minutes.
Absolutely, and Cruncher showing he's got the stuff here in this particular tournament. A lot of people, namely Idra, caught him a flash in the pan. Thought he got lucky in his game where he used brilliant Blink Stalker Micro. Idra kind of having a hard time mentally lately, it seems. Although it has improved. He has a new attitude, it seems, and at least in-game, not GGing out nearly as fast. Idra is sort of a player everybody loves to hate.
It looks like we're going to see a little bit of a similar strategy out of DDE, adding up to 4 barracks in his main, but he's taking down the destructible rocks to the bottom island, not to the ones to the gold, but to the bottom, the back expansion here. It's a little bit harder for Cruncher to get to, a little bit harder for Cruncher to see, so an early third possibly in the works for DDE, getting his factory down now. Meanwhile, Cruncher looks like he wants to move out across the map, taking the control of the middle watchtower. The SCV going to go ahead and run away down to the south part of the map. A pylon being warped in for Cruncher.
Oh yes, he does. He does have a flying chandelier, aka a warp prism, and here we go. Zealot's going to do work in the mineral line. It is going to be a two-prong attack, though. Hitting the first. There we go. Force field goes down, not allowing any reinforcement. Beautiful trap going down on that engagement. Now gets the donut of death as those immortals are doing work on the Marauders. Stalkers doing their best to go ahead and kill that bunker. Microing back, microing back the wrong immortal, but the damage has been done. Guardian shield is popped, and we have some more zealots joining the fray.
Oh, this is pretty brutal. Looks like Cruncher may in fact just break DDE here. The warp prism drop does get cleaned up, but the warp prism, of course, can fly and Marauders can't shoot up, so it's going to be able to get away. Cruncher's going to have that if he wants to warp anything in to attack again. DDE forced to lift his orbital command from the natural, not a place he wants to be in. And Cruncher doing a lot of damage with this early push, I think more than even he had hoped for. So, so much for an early third for DDE. He has to worry about being able to take his natural back.
Absolutely.
Once again, Zealots in the mineral line.
Doing so much damage. Yeah, look at this supply count, 63 of 90 to 37 of 62. Now knock at the front door. I'm going to expect GG any minute now from DDE as he's just getting overwhelmed by Cruncher.
Yep, getting hit from all sides, and really nice use of that warp prism by Cruncher. The first time, I think if he'd waited a little bit longer, there's the GG.
There it is.
Waited a little bit longer before those Zealots moved into the mineral line, he would have had DDE's attention on the front, been able to get some more damage in. But regardless of that, Cruncher going to take that game in an early 2-0 lead in this best of 5 against DDE.